Hello everybody and welcome back to Tree of Tranquility. We are here on a Tuesday, and I know I said that I was going to be back on Monday, but I have to take a little bit of time today to just briefly explain something to you all before we sort of get anywhere in the episode. As I had explained last time, I decided to make the rainbow on a Sunday in hopes that on Monday, when the characters moved in, I could meet them all in one straight shot. When I had done this in practice, I had made the rainbow on a Saturday. The villagers had showed up on a Sunday, but their store was closed, and so I wasn't able to meet them all at once. So I went forward today in hopes that I would be able to bypass that. But unfortunately, I found that that whole system of bumping it up a day has actually messed up all of my plans. I woke up on Monday morning, I was totally surprised there were no villagers, and I thought, well, this is very odd, so I'll go to sleep again and I'll wake up on a Tuesday and still no villagers. I was not aware of this, and no one told me, but apparently the only thing that I can think of is that these villagers will only move in on a Sunday. And if you look at our calendar, I looked at my bookshelf instead, but if we go ahead and we look at our calendar, you can see that our next Sunday is the flea market. And so, unfortunately, for me and for you guys, we're gonna have to wait until fall to meet these new villagers, and I'm very, very sorry about that. I really do try to show you guys the right thing to do, but every once in a while, I do the wrong thing, and at least I hope you guys can learn from my mistake. So note to everybody, if you're going to make Darren's rainbow and you want people to show up, you'll want to do it before Sunday. If you do it on a Sunday, you'll have to wait till the next Sunday, and of course they're not going to show up on a holiday. So our plans to sort of meet new villagers today has completely gone out the window, but never fear, I do still have other plans for us. There are still some other things that we can do today. Because it's a Tuesday, a lot of stuff is going to be open, and there's a few things that we can take care of. Let's go ahead and start by just watering everything. I went mining yesterday. Myra's was closed. It's closed on Mondays, so I have to go get these couple of things refined. And I also put some silver in my bag. I do believe it costs about $5,000 to upgrade to silver. Right now we have a lot of money at our disposal, and so I figured I might as well go and see if I'm able to upgrade at least one of my tools. And I have some plans to spend other money today as well. Our onions should be coming in soon, probably tomorrow or the next day. I'm finding that tomatoes grow really, really quickly, but the corn does not. The corn only comes every couple of days. But I think the corn is worth more than tomatoes, and that's probably why. But either way, I've had a lot of really good success with crops, and I can't complain. They have really been giving me a lot of money throughout the course of the season, and it's really nice to not have to replant all of that stuff as well. So to the mining district we go. We have to stop in at Myra's and also Dale's. I'll go ahead to the forest here and just pick up anything that's available. I have a ton of material still that we can use to build some new buildings, and I think it's high time that we get an animal barn, because at the very least for the story we are going to need a sheep, and the animal barn will go really nicely with our coop, and it will sort of bring everything together. So we'll get that stuff refined from Myra first so I can ship them, and then we'll talk to Ramsey here. And I was right, it does cost $5,000. A little bit steep, But I don't think the barn costs a lot, and it's going to obviously be really, really worth it to do this. So let's go ahead and start with the hammer. Mining is still one of the best ways to make money, and so I think upgrading the hammer is probably in my best interest. Unfortunately, Dale's doesn't open until 9, so we're gonna have to just waste a little bit of time here. Just throw a couple of these things into my shipping bin. So on our short-term goals, obviously we're going to go and ask about the barn. We should go and see what a sheep costs, maybe get some food prepared ahead of time in arrival for the sheep. Look at some other animals that we maybe want to buy as well. Alrighty, so what is this going to cost us? Very, very little. I think that this actually costs the same amount that the first level coop did, and so this is pocket change for us at this point. So let's go ahead and build that, and just like the coop, that's going to take about 2 days to complete. Now, Brownie Ranch should also be open. From what I recall, they are closed on Mondays. Let's take a stroll down there. I know we've sort of taken a peek at their inventory when we first visited, but we haven't really gone through the list in a while to just refresh our memories of what we can get and how much it will cost. Might as well take a gander, see if there's anything laying around here as well. There are. I find that usually almost every single day there's at least 1 or 2 items laying around. If you haven't been here in a while, there's going to be more than usual, but just like the forest, there's usually 1 or 2 things laying around for you to pick up. Alrighty, Hannah, let's have a look at your animals. And keeping in mind that aside from the chicken, if you want to buy a lamb or a calf, you have to wait for them to grow up. Chickens will start laying eggs right away, but we have to wait for the adult sheep and the adult cow. And you can see here that a lamb will take about half a season to grow, which isn't too bad, but a cow takes a full season. So that's something you have to keep in mind as well, that if you're going to buy these animals, you're going to have to feed them and take care of them for that period of time before you can actually start to make money off of them. And they are quite costly, so that's something for everybody to just sort of keep in the back of their mind if they're thinking of expanding their farm and getting some animals. Now obviously we're not going to be able to buy animals until the barn is complete, but if I wanted to, I could probably buy a chicken. Unfortunately in this game we're not able to use the egg trick that we can use in so many other Harvest Moon games, and I've talked about this trick before. A lot of stores will just sell a chicken egg. You can put that egg in the incubator and you can start to get chickens that way rather than buying the chicken. But you can see here that Hannah doesn't actually sell them. And if you're going to buy animals, you also got to keep in mind about the various tools that are needed. If you're going to buy a cow, you need the milker. If you're going to buy a sheep, you need shears. It's always a good idea to brush your animals. And then you'll probably want to have some animal medicine on hand as well. So the animals can get quite costly, and it's also going to be a little bit more time consuming for us as well. We're going to have to include animal care into our routine. So in a couple of days, when the barn is complete, I will definitely think about coming back and grabbing some animals. And the other thing that I wanted to do today is I wanted to finish up our treasure hunt that we were working on last time. We only have 2 more stops left to make. They are very, very close by, and both locations should be open. So let's head on over to Waffle Town. If we recall, the next area that we were asked to look was Town Hall. And so let's mosey on over to Town Hall, shall we? It was closed on Sunday when we had recorded the last episode. It's the only day of the week they're closed. And this will be a nice, easy present for us to spot. The present's going to be on the second floor, in the library area, tucked away in this corner here, right on the ground. And this time we get a crystal, which is a rare gem. Sells for a pretty penny. And our next clue, second floor at the Sunday Inn, look inside of a room. Alright, well that's very close to where we are now. So let's head on over there. The other thing too is I don't think that we've actually ever been to the Sunday Inn during the day and have had a chance to look at what they sell. I did mention this earlier when I had come in to see Hayden's menu, but they just sell food. So if you're interested in buying any kind of food as gifts, or you want to restore your energy, then you can do that here. They have a few things here, but again, buying food isn't really optimal unless you have a lot of money to spend. Some of this stuff is really, really expensive. Onwards with the treasure hunt. Now that we've seen that, the present should be in very plain view right here. And we got a couple of bars of rare metal. Congratulations! Here's a small gift for all of your searching. Well, hooray! Alright. Now I say a couple of bars, but of course it's only one bar. It just looks like a couple of bars in the picture, but yeah, here we go. So we can ship the rare metal, or you can keep it if you want to, and the crystal as well. You don't need any of these items for anything, so feel free to ship them, and that will give you a nice little boost in what you made for the day, and they're completely free. I'm going to go ahead and go back to my house and ship those couple of items. And we should also be able to see where our barn is going to be built. And it looks like it's going to be right beside the coop here, which I guess makes sense, but again, to me, everything looks really, really, really squished together. Although for those of you who maybe haven't played this game, or you're planning to but you haven't started yet, and you are still not sure of where you want to live, this will give you a good idea of how much room you'll have if you decide to buy this town plot like what I purchased. I've mentioned this before, but keep in mind that this is probably the smallest plot of land. It's pretty convenient, but it's also pretty small. But no matter what property you buy, you'll always be able to build a coop. You'll always be able to build a barn. There's no restrictions. It's just going to be a matter of where they're built and where your animals graze, and then of course how much room you have for crops and stuff like that. But I do still think at this point in the game, this is a nice sort of starter area. And keep in mind too that we are free to buy every other piece of land if we want to. We can move our stuff, we can build stuff on other pieces of property. We can do whatever we want. So that's probably something we might want to look into later on once we have a little bit more expendable income. And that's probably it for me today. I'm gonna go ahead and put my silver bars back. I probably could have upgraded the watering can, but if I do plan on buying a sheep and a couple of tools and some food and whatnot, I probably want to save my money for the time being. So if we look at our calendar once again, we are now a couple of days away from the next upcoming flea market, and we also have a firefly festival on the following Tuesday. There's a couple of things left for us to see in summer before the season is over. Once again, I really apologize for that oversight on my part. As I mentioned though, I had absolutely no idea, but now I know. Unfortunately, I found out a little bit too late about that. My hope is that by the time fall comes around and shortly after we meet those characters, we'll be able to make another rainbow, and then we can just make progress from there. So I'll probably play a couple days on my own. Maybe I'll come back when the flea market is up or when the Firefly Festival is up. Until then though, thank you all so very much for watching, and I hope that I will see you next time.